So today we are going to see the next topic, which is data structure. Now, basically, what is a data structure? Now, all of you know that the computer doesn't understand higher level languages. So basically, it understands which language? 0 and 1. So basically, how to represent the data? Suppose real life situations are there, and you want to whatever data is there that you want to input to the computer. So how that data is going to be inputted to the computer, in which form, what format. So all that means the data structure. So in general way, if you just call data structure, so it is a way of organizing data so that it can be used effectively. Now you can consider the example of laptop. Okay. Now suppose laptop is there, it has got different attributes. Attributes means properties. Now see the attributes of laptop. One, it is the of which company, whether it is of Dell, HP, Lenovo, or any other. Then the processor size, whether it is i3, i5, i7, or AMD. What is the size of the RAM? So attributes are like company, processor, RAM, hard disk, monitor, display, and the price. So the attributes have got some value, so which can be any value. So they are called data. Now we'll see the basically for this chapter many definitions are there which are usually asked in the question board exam. So first we'll see what do you mean by data. So data are simply values or set of values. Now see these attributes are there. In front of it we have written the data. Now the laptop company can either be Dell, HP or Lenovo. So these are nothing but the data. So we are written here values or set of values. Now set of value means what? Now see, suppose RAM I have written. Suppose RAM I have written 1 GB. Now one unit is there and GB it is there in text format. So it is nothing but set of values. Okay. So data can be simply values or set of values. Now next is definition of data item. So what do you mean by data item? A data item refers to a single unit of value. So that is called a data items. Now the next definition is group items. So these are data items. So data items that are divided into sub items are called group items. So means what? Now suppose here the company is Dell, HP or Lenovo. So whether these are data items or elementary items. So what do you mean by group items? Group means collection of different items in one group. Now you can just take the example of student name. Okay. Now what does the student name consist of? It consists of the first name, the middle name, and the last name. So combination of all the three, first name, middle name, last name, it will form one group. Okay. So data items that are divided into sub items, further divided into three parts or any number of parts. So they are called group items. Now we'll just see the example of group item. Now here the example is given. Suppose employee name is there. So we are dividing into three sub items, first name, middle name, and last name. So all the combination of all these three will make one item. So they are divided into groups. So that is why they are called as group item. Now if you take the example of your mobile number or Aadhaar card or PAN number, so that is not divided further. Now name is divided into first name, middle name, last name. But Aadhaar card single digit is there. Now, elementary items, data items which are not divided into sub items are called as elementary items. So I told you before, what do you mean by group items? What do you mean by elementary items? So elementary items means what? Which cannot be further divided. Example, Aadhaar card, your roll number, PAN card, etc. Okay. So such type of definitions are usually asked in the question paper. So next definition is of entity. So what do you mean by entity? An entity is something that has certain attributes or properties which may be assigned values. Now, these values can be either numeric or non-numeric, or it may be a combination of both. So, we'll just take one example of an entity. Now, suppose you take the example of a student in a college or an organization. Now again, that student has got some attributes. Okay. So suppose he is there in the college, then he'll have some roll number, his name is there, his age is there, date of birth is there, sex is there, he is allotted which division, 11, C, D, E, and he's having some mobile number. Some subjects are defined to him. So these are nothing but the attributes. Okay. So these attributes, suppose roll number is there, they are having some values we are assigning to it. So for first student 22001, one value is assigned. For second roll number, another number is assigned. So entity is something that has certain attributes. So these are nothing but the attributes: roll number, name, age, sex, division, mobile, subject, whatever you can add. So that are nothing but the attributes. So they are having some assigned some values. Now, so name is assigned Rahul, name is also assigned Satish. So these attributes, they are having some values. So they can be either numeric or non-numeric. So next we'll see what do you mean by field. A field is a single elementary unit of information representing an attribute of an entity. Now again, we have seen earlier what do you mean by information. Now, if some data is there, so that is of no use unless and until we process that data into useful information, it is of no use. Now we will see what do you mean by field. Single elementary unit of information representing an attribute of an entity. So previously we have seen what do you mean by attribute. Attribute means property of that whatever it is. Now here the attribute of student we are writing roll number, name, age. So any given cell that is called the field. Now suppose roll number 1 is there 22001, so it is one field. Similarly in name Satish is one field, 38 is one field, M is one field, 12th is one field. So all these individual cells they are called a field, single elementary unit of information. So usually questions are asked for 1 mark, definition of field, record, file. Now what is a record? Record is a collection of field values of a given entity. Now see, these are the values. Now the collection of all the values for a particular roll number. Say, so here you can say the roll number. So these are the values for every attribute. One value is there. The combination of all these values, it is called a record. Now this single line, it is called a record. Collection of all these values related to that particular roll number. Similarly, you can say for the second line also, this is one record. So here three records are there, one, two, three. So it is nothing but a collection of field values of a given entity. Now next is what? File. File is a collection of records of the entities in a given entity set. Now here three records are there. Suppose 100 records are there. So one by one, all the records are there. So collection of all these records is nothing but a file. So file is a collection of records of the entities in a given entity set. Okay. So all the combination of records, one, two, three, suppose 50 records are there. So combination of all this, it is nothing but the file. Now next we'll see primary key. So only definitions are there for this. So what do you mean by primary key? Now suppose the attributes of a student are roll number, name, age. So basically how you identify that student? By some unique number you should identify. So here name can be common. Now suppose Rahul is there. So suppose 50 students are there in the class. There can be 4 or 5 Rahuls, or the ages can be same. Standard will be same. Division can be the same. Mobile number will be different. But it is easy to identify the student by his roll number. Okay. So what do you mean by primary key? Each record in a file may contain some field items. Now field items means what? So these are nothing but the field items like roll number, name, age. So these are the field items. But the value in certain field may be uniquely determine the record in the file. Now see, roll number 1, 22001 means you know that it is the roll number of a particular person, and it uniquely identifies that person in that list. Okay. So such a field is called a primary key. So we are not going to see any thing more about primary key. Only we need to know that primary key is a key which uniquely identifies the record in that file. So if you just write down this 3 lines, you will get 1 mark. So see, this is the primary key. Roll number is the primary key. So by searching for that particular roll number, you will get all the details about that particular person. Okay. Now field means any individual item. Record means the complete line. So I am purposefully darkened it in red. So this is one record, second record, third record. The combination of all these records is called a file. So data may be organized in many different ways. The logical or mathematical model of a particular organization of data is called a data structure. So till now we have seen only one data structure, that is array. Okay. So many data structures are there, different data structures are there, like array, a linked list is there, then stack is there, then queue is there, then tree are there, or by using the pointers, linked list is there. So one by one, we are going to see the different data structures. So basically, it is nothing but the way of organizing the data. Okay. So the choice of a particular data model depends on two considerations. It must be rich enough in structure to mirror or show the actual relationship of the data in the real world. And second, the structure should be simple enough that one can effectively process the data when necessary. Now see, whenever you are going to write some programs, so you will decide. Now suppose you have got a program in which you have to calculate the largest number among the given sets. Then you decide that no, I am going to use an array because I am going to use a set of values. If I use normal variables, then that program will become difficult. So you decide upon the data structure that you are going to use according to the programming needs. Now suppose a set of numbers is there, then immediately you think of an array. So basically, when you define a data structure, it should be so simple that you can easily process that data structure and get the required output, whatever is required of that program. And it should show some relationship. Okay, so these are the two important things of data structure. Now we'll see the different types of data structures. So they are classified into two, linear and non-linear. So like the name suggests, linear means what? In a sequence. So two types of data structures are there, linear data structure and non-linear data structure. So we have seen arrays and strings. So data structure is said to be linear if its elements form a sequence, or in other words, a linear list. So we have seen that array is what? It is a sequence of number of the same type, okay, in consecutive memory location. So linear, so that is a linear data structure. So examples are like array. So strings also we have seen some programs. Linked list we have not seen. So by using the pointers we have a linked list, or stack and queue is also another data structure. So that we are going to see later. And the examples of non-linear data structures are trees. So in tree, basically they are not in sequence, but basically they are in hierarchical order. Like you say in the example of the college. So the topmost person is the principal. Below that there are three or four vice principal. Below them there are the teachers. So in the tree structure form, it is there. So it is called a tree. So data structures are classified into two types, that is linear and non-linear. So we have already seen arrays and strings. So rest of the data structures we are going to see. Now this question is many times asked in the board exam. So if you see last 4 or 5 years paper, so you can see this question repeating again and again. So even if you remember these 6 terms, then easily you can score the marks, and you have to just explain in short 1 or 2 lines. So usually this question comes for 3 marks. Explain in brief any 6 data structure operations. Now last year we have seen the array, and we have seen only 2 operations on that. One was of searching a particular element and one was of sorting. Okay. So total there are 6 operations on data structure. So we'll see one by one. The first one is called traversing. Now traversing means what? Now suppose an array is there and you want to traverse that array. Traversing means what? Moving through each and every element of that array only once. So one by one we are going to move through that array, but that will be only once. So what do you mean by traversing? Accessing each record or element exactly once so that certain items in the list may be processed. So traversing is moving through that array and doing some operations on that element, but only once. So moving from the first element till the last element is called traversing. Now the next is searching. So we have seen last year linear search and binary search. Now, searching, like you know, that means finding the location of the record with a given key value or finding the location of all records which satisfy one or more condition is called searching. So even if you recall the six names, like is traversing, searching, inserting, deleting, sorting, and merging. So even if you write the names traversing, searching, inserting, deleting, sorting, and merging, even then you can get out of 3 marks you can get 1.5 mark. But if you just write it in short, then you can get complete 3 out of 3. Inserting means what? Suppose an array is there and you want to insert some number into that array. So that is nothing but inserting. Similarly, deleting means what? If you want to delete a particular element from an array or any structure, that is called deleting. So it is very easy to write down single line about that if you just remember the six names. Now next is sorting. Arranging the records in some logical order is called sorting. So sorting can either be in ascending order or descending order. So last year we had seen bubble sort technique. So different techniques are there. So to sort and structure. And the last one is merging. Merging means what? Suppose two files are there. So you have to just combine those two files. That is called merging. So combining the records in two different sorted files into a single sorted file is called merging. So like I told you, this question is asked many times. So you have to just remembering is very easy. Traversing means moving. Searching means searching for a particular element or location. Inserting, deleting, sorting, and merging. So if you just remember these six names, and easily you can write 2 or 3 lines about that. Okay. So now last year we have seen this, but now usually this question is asked very rarely. Explain with flowcharts the following control structures. So last year we had seen that by in the structured programming by using which basic three types we can write any program. So sequence logic or sequential flow, selection logic or conditional flow, and iteration logic or repetitive flow. Now we'll see one by one. So usually this question is asked for 3 marks. So all the three with the help of a diagram you have to write in the exam. The sequence is what? Step by step procedure. Like we had written the first few programs in uh, paper one. So they were based upon steps. So you have to just go by step by step. So that is nothing but a sequence. The modules are executed sequentially one after the another. The sequence may be presented explicitly by means of number steps or implicitly by the order in which the modules are written. So one by one in the sequence logic, after one module is complete, you go to the next, you go to the next in the sequence. So that is nothing but the sequence. So you have to just write this much and you can get 1 mark. So usually 3 or 2 they are asked in the exam. So if you just draw the diagram and write few lines about it. Now the next is selection. Selection logic or conditional flow. So in this there are three types. Now selection means what? You are using the if condition. So condition is there which leads to a selection of one out of several alternative modules. The structure which implements this logic are called selection logic or conditional structures. So they are basically divided into three types: single alternative, double alternative, multiple alternative. So last year we have seen all the three. So one by one we'll just go through these alternatives. What do you mean by a single alternative? See, if the condition is true, like we have seen in the if condition, then we are going to do module A. Now this module A can have n number of steps. It can have a single step also, or 4 or 5 steps also. So if the condition is true, it is going to do these steps. And if the condition is false, then it will skip the module and go to the further part, whatever is there in the algorithm. So single alternative means what? Condition is true, do that module, whatever steps are there in that. Else, if the condition is false, directly skip that module and go to the next part. So see the syntax has been given here. If condition, if condition means what? If the condition is true, then module A structure. Module A, which may consist of one or more statements. So this module, like I told you, it can contain one statement also or more than one statements. So that is executed. Otherwise, this is skipped and control transfers to the next step of algorithm. See, I have shown the diagram. And while showing the diagram, you have to show the proper arrows. If you don't show the arrows, then the chances are there that the examiner can deduct some marks for it. So this is single alternative. A double alternative also we had seen last year. So what do you mean by double alternative? So see the flowchart. If the condition is true, then whatever is there in module A, n number of steps, suppose they are there, so that will be executed. Otherwise, module B is executed. So module A and module B, they can have n number of steps. So see the arrow keys. If this is true, this will be done. If this is false, then this will be done and it will go to the further processing. Now the last one is multiple alternatives. So which example we had seen last year of multiple alternatives? But if condition M is true, then module AM is there. Now if all the conditions are false, then by default module B will be executed. Alternatives. So logic of this structure allows only one of the module to be executed. Either the module which follows the first condition, which holds is executed, or the module which follows the final else statement is executed. If this is true, this will be executed. If this is true, this will be executed. If this is true, this will be executed. If all of them are false, then by default, whichever is in the else part, that will be executed. So all of you understood this? Yes, all of you.
Yes, sir.
Now we'll go to the last part. It is called iteration logic or repetitive flow. So last year we have seen the two loops. One was for loop, one was while loop. We also seen the do while loop. But iteration means what? Repetition of the same thing again and again. Okay. So it can be either by using the for loop or using the while loop. So we'll just see the flowchart and the explanation for this. Now this is for the for loop. So in for loop, what happens? First, we have to initialize that variable. Then next is what? We check for the condition, whether it is true or false. Then what we do? Then we increment or decrement according to the program requirements. Okay. Now see the structure here. The repeat for loop uses an index variable such as k to control the loop. So that means k is what? The initializing variable. You can initialize it to 0 or 1 according to the situation. The loop will usually have the form k is equal to r to s. R to s what? R is the first value, s is the last value by t. T means what? T is nothing but the increment. Okay. And the module end of the loop. See, r is called the initial value. So like we write in the for loop, for I is equal to 0. S is the end value. That means I less than n suppose is there. Then s is the last number that is there. And t is the increment. What you write? I plus plus, that is nothing but the increment. So the body of the loop is executed first when k is equal to r. R means what? The initial number. It can be 0, 1, whatever. And then with k is equal to r plus 1. So every time that loop is executed, it is going to be incremented by 1, which is called the t. T means nothing but the increment. And then by r plus 2t. R plus 2t means what? First it will increment by 1t. Then secondly again it will increment by 1t. So that is why it is written here 2t. So it will keep on incrementing till it reaches the final value, that is s. So loop ends with k is greater than s, assuming that increment t is positive. If t is negative, then k decreases in value. Now see, while printing the program of reverse of the numbers, what we have done, we have initialized with the highest number, and we have checked for the whether the number is greater than 0, and we are decrementing I by 1, I minus minus. So that only we are written it over here. If k is greater than yes, then it will terminate. So till k is greater than s, it will go on repeating this module. It will increment the value by 1, and see the loop is given here. So unless and until k is greater than s, these steps will keep on repeating again and again. So once k becomes greater than s, it will come out of that loop and go out. So all of you understood for loop, repeat for loop.
Yes, sir.
We have seen these loops, but only we have to write it in some structured format. So now we'll just see the while loop. While loop, what happens? Last year we have seen. If the condition is false, whatever is there inside that while loop, it will never be executed. If the condition is true, whatever steps are there inside that loop, that will be executed till the condition becomes false. But for the while loop, what is the condition? First, we have to initialize before that while loop some variable, and in the while condition, while loop, you have to use the loop index. That is means to increment that value by 1 or decrement or whatever you want to do. That has to be done inside the while loop. Now see the condition in the while loop. If condition is true, yes, whatever steps are there in the module of the loop. So in the module of the loop index will also be there. That means you have to increment or decrement. So that is done in the loop. And we are going on. See the arrow is there here till the condition becomes false. Once it becomes false, it will just come out. So repeat while loop uses a condition to control the loop. The loop will usually have the form repeat while condition module end of loop. The loop continues until the condition is false. So till the condition is false, it will keep on executing the loop. See, that is why the arrows are shown here. So you have to show the arrows while writing the structure repeat while loop. We emphasize that there must be a statement before the structure that initializes the condition controlling the loop. See, I told you before that before the condition, we have to initialize that statement in order that that loop may be eventually cease. There must be a statement in the body of the loop that changes the condition. So if you don't write increment or decrement in the loop, then this loop will go on performing continuously. It will not, it will go into an infinite loop. So that is why the initialization is important, and the increment or decrement you have to do inside the loop. So that is what we have written it over here. So all of you understood these three. Control structures. Sequence means in a sequence module step by step. Then selection logic, three parts are there: single alternative, double alternative, and multiple. In single, if the condition is true, it will be executed. If it is not, then it will go to the next step. If it is true, it will go to this step. If it is false, it will go to another step. In multiple, if the condition 1 is true, then that module will be executed. If the next condition is true, that module will be executed. Now, see here, dot 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 means what? N number of conditions are there. If that particular condition is there, then that module will be executed. Else, if M condition is there, then that module will be executed. If any of the condition is not true, then the final part, else part, that will be executed. Now next means iteration means what? Repetition again and again till it is completed. So two loops are there. One is for loop, one is while loop. For loop initialization takes place first, then checking of the condition, then the increment or decrement until the statement is false. Okay. Next is while. While condition is true, it will keep on repeating this loop. If the condition is false, it will not go inside, directly it will come out. So for the while condition, initialization of the variable before the while loop, it is necessary. And to increment or decrement, you have to write it in the while loop.